Welcome to the Authentic Spiritual Journey, a weekly podcast featuring real and practical spiritual conversations from fresh perspectives here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. Today, episode 289, Anything is Possible for Me. And now your host, Reverend Cynthia Alice Anderson.
Hello and welcome to the Authentic Spiritual Journey. Happy New Year, dear friend. I am so happy to be the first to welcome you. Welcome to the Authentic Spiritual Journey. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I'm the host. I'm here today in Anderson Studios, a division of the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. Friends, it is my honor, it is my joy, it is my privilege and pleasure to welcome you into the new year. Today is the very first day of the rest of your life, and here we go. It is January 1st, 2024, my friend, and welcome. The Authentic Spiritual Journey has been on the air over 5 years now. I can't believe, are we in our 6th year? And today we are recording the Authentic Spiritual Journey show 289, and the title for today's show is Anything is Possible. Anything is possible. Friends, in the new year, it is so common that we think about what is possible for us. Now, in the culture at large, we usually think about New Year's resolutions. And I talk a little bit about this every year because I'm fascinated that the American culture anyway as a whole sets these resolutions. And less than a week later, over 90% of Americans cannot remember what their resolutions were. So I think for a lot of people, when they talk about resolutions, what they're really saying is they have a wish. They have a wish. And here at the Experience of the Soul podcast channel, and this show in particular, Authentic Spiritual Journey, we're about more than wishes. We're about dreams. And what I love about dreams is that dreams call us into something higher. Dreams call us into something higher, and they help us believe in our own innate power. And when I say our own innate power, what I'm meaning is the God power within us. That said, we have to choose to live from that God power within us. So I want you to think about if today is the very first day of the rest of your life, which of course every day is, but if today is January 1st, 2024, what would you like your life to be about this year? And I don't want you to answer that quickly. You know, we all say, well, we want peace on earth, but it's hard to understand from the individual level how one act can create peace on earth or how one dream or wish can create peace on earth. Well, of course it can't. You know, the reality is, and the true answer is, one thought cannot create peace on earth, but many thoughts and many peaceful actions that lead other people to peaceful thoughts and peaceful actions eventually does have an impact. So I want you to think about what do you want your life to be about as we begin the new year. And the phrase I'm adopting for this new year is, anything is possible for me. Anything is possible for me. Sometimes when I hear the phrase, anything is possible, and when I was first planning the show, the way I had it written was, anything is possible. But I like owning it. Anything is possible for me helps it bring it right into the individual and right into the now. Right into the now. Anything is possible for me. Anything is possible for me. What a great affirmation. Of course, we get this idea not from a self-help book or from RCA teachings. We get this right from the Bible. Matthew 19:26 in the New International Version says, Jesus looked at them and said, with man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. With man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. And this lets me know that the human self, it lets me know that the human self has limits. So the personality self is what we'll often call it, or the egoic self. Of course, if you're talking psychology, the ego is the self. But in spiritual circles and in spiritual terms, we often say the word ego, and what we're really meaning is the personality. In other words, that which was created as a result of our family system. So the personality is created as a result of the family system we grew up in and how we figured out to get love. Okay, so all that said, when we are seeking to live life from a higher realm, when we're seeking to live a spiritual life, we want to go beyond the personality. We want to go beyond the personality, and what we seek to do is move forward in a higher way, realizing God is the source of our good. It is God who gives me divine ideas. It is God who sources me with abundance and good and hope and strength. It is God who guides me. It is God who lifts me up. It is God who shows me aspects of myself so I can learn and grow. So our affirmation today, and my affirmation for the year, is anything is possible for me. Anything. Anything is possible for me. Would you say that with me? Anything is possible for me. Anything. So if anything were possible for you, if you could absolutely know that, wouldn't you want to dream big? Like if you realize the amount of power you had, wouldn't you want to dream big and really dial down what you would want to do or be in this next year? Because friends, one of the things I have learned through years of ministry and years of working with people is that none of us have a guarantee about tomorrow. That said, it doesn't mean you go out and spend money wildly because there may not be a tomorrow, or you go party because there may not be a tomorrow. But you begin to choose wisely what you do with your time, your intention, your energy, and your attention so that you can move forward and move into what is yours to do or be. So in other words, I'm coming back to the idea again that we are becoming conscious beings. We are becoming conscious beings as we take time to set our intention, to set our attention, our time, and our energy. As that focuses on what is possible for us, we're choosing at the beginning of this year, we're choosing to dream big. We know that as we choose to dream big, as we get clarity on what it is mine to do or be, then we can begin to step forward. But clarity is needed first and foremost. Oftentimes, I've had people ask in a counseling setting what their next steps are. And I ask them, what do you want to do, or what do you want to be? What are you thinking about? And their minds are blank. They haven't yet gotten to what they are here to do and be. And so then that becomes the work in the session. Now, why am I saying that? I'm not saying anything negative, but I'm saying without an intention to move forward, without an idea or a desire, you won't be able to move because you're handling life just from the human perspective. See, really dreaming the way I'm talking about, really dreaming big, requires the Spirit of God in you. Anything is possible for me, right? So I want to dream big. If I believe that God is with me, I believe anything is possible for me. I want to become conscious. I want to set goals. I want to look at my dreams. I want to look at my desires. And I'm looking at them through a spiritual lens and searching my own heart, my own soul for what can I not let go of in terms of what I'm wanting to do this lifetime. In other words, what dream, what goal, what idea is living in my heart right now? And I remember anything is possible for me. So I want you to think about when you're alone, when maybe you're driving down the road or maybe you have a minute, what is it your mind goes to? What is it you begin to think about? Or sometimes we even ruminate on ideas. What is it that's in your heart that you can't let go? That you can't let go of wanting to do and be? Whatever that is, you need to listen to that. You need to listen to that. And as I say all this, I want to remind you that we are assuming that you are seeking to be conscious. We are assuming that you are a spiritual being, that you know you're a spiritual being. And when we're saying listen to divine guidance, we know that you're seeking to do and be good in the world. We know that you're seeking to be a blessing and to be blessed. So when I say follow that guidance, it is with the caveat that you are intending good for your life and for the world in which you live. So I want you to remember this affirmation with me. Anything is possible for me. I want you to say this with me. Anything is possible for me. Anything. Learning to listen to that voice of the soul is often called the intuition. Learning to be with that, learning to stay present to that, learning to tap into that voice, tap into that knowing, tap into that energy. Tapping into that is very, very important as you mature on the spiritual journey. When I was speaking earlier about when clients come to me and don't have an idea, the good news is they came to me with the idea to heal, and they just haven't gotten to the point yet of setting their goals or listening to their desires or tapping into their heart. But the good news is they knew they wanted to heal. So they had a goal, even though it wasn't conscious. So then my job becomes helping them become conscious to what their dreams, goals, and desires are. But they were there all along. So, friend, that's what I want you to remember. These dreams, goals, and desires I'm often speaking of are already there. I absolutely believe 100% that you already know what it is that you want to do and be this year. I know that you already know what that is. And what I'm going to tell you is I want you to stop pretending that you don't know. See, a lot of us do this. We know psychologically this is called denial, but we know there's a lot of things we want to do and be, and we pretend we don't know what that is. We pretend that we don't know what our next steps are. We pretend that we don't have any dreams, goals, and desires. But I'm saying to you, I know that you do. If you're here walking around on planet Earth, existing on planet Earth right now, there is something in your heart that won't let you go that you know is yours to do. And ultimately, what I'm saying is not really what is yours to do, but what is yours to be. So that beingness comes first before the doing. In traditional American culture, there's kind of this way we get things. It's have, do, be. And we save the being for last, right? But first we want to get it. We in the US, everything is about what we can get. But the truth is, some of the Eastern things we learn and what Jesus taught us is that it's be, do, have. That out of the beingness, the doing and the having arises, right? But that being nature, that getting still, that quieting the mind, that listening to the heart is a state of being. It's a state of awareness. It's, as the Abraham, Esther Hicks says, is tapping in and turning on, right? Tapping into that voice of spirit, that aspect of us that is the Christ presence. I've learned a great deal working with elderly people, and I've just my whole life been very blessed to be around a lot of older adults. As a child, because I was the youngest, I was always around a lot of older people, older siblings. I had older parents, so therefore my grandparents were older than most. And frankly, I was around a lot of wisdom. And then as I became a minister in every church, I always had a group of older people. And I'll never forget a woman I knew at 90. I think she passed when she was 95, but at 92 years old, she told me that she really felt God was still calling her to something. And I remember how powerful that was for me to think she's 92. She's lived over nearly 100 years, right? She's lived over 90 years, and she still has a dream, a goal, a desire to serve. To me, that was miraculous. So I just know, if you're walking around on planet Earth, if you are existing here with me in this earthly plane, there is something new for you to do and be. And so, what is your new? What is your new? What is this beingness that you've been after? What is this beingness that you've been seeking? Is it peace? I think we all want that, don't we? Peace. It's so simple. Yet, it's not just peace. What is it? It could be what? Loving myself, those around me. It could mean I want to be in service in a higher way, so I give of myself to others in a way I never have before, so that I learn what it means to be a giver to life. I want you to dig deep for this one, friends. I don't want this to necessarily be about money or a new job, or although it can be. I want you to dig deep in what do you really want and need. And I want you to remember, anything is possible for you. Anything. And I wanted to start this new year with you really giving yourself a moment to think about what is possible for you. What is possible in your career, what is possible in your family, what's possible in your relationships. What new energy would you like to bring forth that would be a blessing? What new way would you like to walk through life? One of the things I'm seeking to put back into my own rhythm is more times of silence. You know, for years, every Friday from 8 to 12 was total silence. What a blessing. No phone, no nothing, just silence. So I'm thinking this year about the energy that would bring into my life if I just had a few hours of silence every week in a row. So I'm sharing that with you so you know I'm working this. I'm seeking to deepen my spiritual awareness. I'm seeking to be able to become aware of my own issues that might cloud what I see from time to time. I want to be able to see clearly. And I know that when I can be silent, I start to be a different kind of observer of myself and of life in general. So that's one of the things for me, is giving myself space in my life by honoring my journey with more silence. And it might sound simple, but the truth is, as I think about it right now, it seems kind of hard. So this is how I know it's mine to do, is I keep wanting it and my ego keeps fighting it, right? So this is what the ego does. The ego, or the personality self, wants to go, you don't need that. Just keep moving, But I keep thinking, this is the beginning of the year. what I do the first few days of the year, it's like the threshold of the whole year. I'm on the 31st and the 1st, I'm always about releasing the old year and thinking about what new is wanting to come forward for me. Having said this too, what I also realize is even though I do have wants of my own, desires of my own, that God is actually working in me to bring something new. The new service I'm starting in Orlando is a pretty big deal. I'm super excited, and it just kind of came through me as an idea. So that's one of the doing pieces that's going to be new for me this year is the new service I'm starting this Sunday in Orlando. Sunday, January 7th at 5 p.m. And by the way, if you want info on that, just go to my website, cynthiaaliceanderson.com. What is my new do or be? For me, it's reinstituting silence, and it's going to be observing what arises out of that silence. I was just taking a deep breath and seeing how it felt in the podcast. As many of our regular listeners know, sometimes I get excited and I say a lot in a short amount of time. And this practice of silence may bring me more than I imagine. I am quite sure it will. And that's what's so interesting about dreams, goals, and desires, the holy desires that we're trying to, be more and even do more in terms of service in the world. When we dedicate our actions to God, it really changes the amount of support we get to bring those ideas, those dreams forward. So I want to affirm for you and for myself again, anything is possible for me. I want you to affirm that for yourself. Anything is possible for me. Anything. Just anything. There's a great author named H. Emily Cady. She was a Unity author and just did incredible, incredible work. And one of her teachings that's so simple and profound, she says if you have the desire for it, its answer for manifestation is on its way. Basically, if you have the desire, you're guaranteed the manifestation when that desire is for good. When that desire is to bring more good, more holiness, more sacredness, more goodness into your life and world. An exercise I want to give you to begin to practice thinking about doing the impossible. So several years ago, I did this it was almost a year. I don't think I did the entire year, but the first 6 months, I did it every single day. And what the assignment is every single day, you write 10 impossible things. 10 impossible things. And as you do it, you write a brand new list every single day of 10 impossible things you want to do. And what will happen over time when you first start doing it, you might notice that some of the things repeat and some of them don't. You don't want to try to get things to repeat. You want to just allow your spirit to say, okay, what is impossible? And friends, as you start to do that, the amazing thing that happens is the more you do it, the more you see that the things that you thought were impossible, in fact, are very possible. So the reason you write them down is most of us, what we do, we have this idea of something we want to do, and it goes around and around and around in our mind, and we don't actually move forward on any of it. We don't even ever write it down. And what I've learned through all of my teaching of dream big, live big, through all of my teaching of spiritual principle of releasing the past, that when we begin to write it down, we can either release it as we need, or we get to move forward. And when you write it down, it begins to become creative. It's like you're giving it life when you write it down. And so your mind thinks it's impossible, but as soon as you write it down, your mind starts to go, oh, I wonder how we could do that. And what I've noticed about the mind is the mind loves to answer a question, right? The mind loves to answer a question. So as you give yourself permission to write down these 10 impossible things every day, you're going to see that your mind starts thinking of ways to make these things manifest. So I want you to start that. And I'm going to be asking you about it over the next few weeks and months. I'm going to say, have you written your list this week? And if you haven't written it, you can start that week. The list is 10 impossible things. The list is 10 impossible things. I want you to write it down. Don't overthink it. But what you're writing down is 10 things you want to do, but you think are impossible. That's the assignment. And then when we get back together next week, we're going to review some of those things. So I want a couple of you to email me. I want you to send me your list. I want you to tell me how it's going. I want you to tell me some of the things you wrote down. Give me permission to share. And I'll say those things on the air. I'll say those things on the air, your 10 impossible things, with your permission. Or send me 3 or 2, and I'll put a bunch of lists together. But I want you to hear me say the words that Jesus spoke so long ago. With man, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. So friends, when you are intending good, when you are intending to bring about goodness, wholeness, holiness, the sacred into your life and into the world, God is with you. So I want you to remember anything is possible for you. Let's affirm together, anything is possible for me. Will you say that with me? Anything is possible for me. Anything. Remember that, friend. I'm going to be lifting you up this week, and all of our listeners, I'm always lifting our world in prayer, but I can't tell you what it means to me to know that people all around the country and around the world are joining together with some of these ideas. Anything is possible for us, dear friends. With God, all things are possible. So I'm going to be supporting you. I'm going to be lifting you up. And I can't wait to get some of your lists of what your 10 impossible things are. And we'll be sharing them and we'll be checking in over the next several weeks and months. Now, the assignment is first for 30 days, every single day to write your list of 10 impossible things. At the end of 30 days, you choose. But I want you to try it as a discipline. Starting today, whenever you're hearing this show, write your list of 10 impossible things, remembering anything is possible for me. God bless you, dear friend. I am so grateful to have you along the journey. I will be lifting you in prayer for God's highest and best, and look forward to seeing you next week. Blessings on the journey, my friend, and happy New Year.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Authentic Spiritual Journey here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. This channel is made possible because of listeners just like you. If you would like to support the channel with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. The Authentic Spiritual Journey is copyright 2023, Cynthia Alice Anderson, all rights reserved. Our theme music is composed by Dave Croft and used with permission from RR Hot Publishing. The Experience of the Soul podcast channel is a production of 818 Studios.